How about now? Whoops. All right, let's try this again. I was screwing around with my mics the other day. I think now you can hear me, right? How about now? Still? Everything looks up now. Okay, sorry. Let me know the level's okay. Okay, so here's what's happening. On the old Green Room app, I was trying to, plug in a mic and into my phone, and I had my soundboard going, and I had everything turned off and on. And anyway, so forgive me. Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the live post-game show after Game 3 of the finals, a blowout. We had to start it early because the game was over early. Glad to be here. Glad you can all hear me now. Eventually, I remember exactly how this works on Hot Mic, and when I press that button, then there's a delay on the YouTube side. But don't forget, if you want to come on the show and chop it up with me, download that Hot Mic app, request to come in, and I will bring you on the show. You'll be simulcast to Hot Mic and to YouTube. The only way you can do this on a YouTube live show. Rich wants to come on. Let's bring him in on right away. And before I do that, I'm realizing now I need to plug in my phones so that they don't echo throughout my stuff. Gosh, I am not ready. I should not have launched so early, but hey, it was better than watching the blowout. Okay, here we go. Let me plug this baby in. We're going to hit OK to Rich. So remember, Rich, tap that button on your screen to accept the invitation. Come on in. We'll chop it up. What's happening, my man?
Coach, what's going on? How you doing?
The game is now over. We got 3. We're almost halfway through the finals. I'm good. How about you?
All good, all good. I wanted to ask, from what I've been seeing in this game, it seems like the Bucks are playing a lot better defense, especially like covering the pick and roll. They were helping on the ball screener, and they were making good rotations. I was wondering what you thought of the Bucks defense tonight.
It's funny because for a long part of the first half, I've been taking some notes during the game, and they were playing pretty bad, I thought, and they weren't doing much. Lopez was still getting stuck too high on the pick and roll, but he was coming up higher, which is always the adjustment they're looking to make. But, they struggled mightily in the pick and roll. They really did not play it well. Ayton didn't miss. He was scoring all sorts of points. So, to me, Ayton gets into some foul trouble a little bit, and I went through all the fouls. I was able to call them up before we started the show. They're all relatively legitimate. I can't really, no one should complain too much. The one that Middleton got on him, there was enough drifting into him, I guess, that they called it. But the other ones were legit. So when he goes out, all of a sudden, everything seemed to fall apart for the Suns. So in my mind, it was weird. The third quarter, by the way, would have been the quarter where the Suns took control and they go up 3-0, right? They were on fire. The zone was working. They cut the 15-point lead to like 7, and they were kind of right on their way. And then all of a sudden just completely dried up. So that was the moment we got to really look at again, I think, when I go through the footage to figure out exactly what the Bucks did. I think that one thing that the Suns did was they played zone a little too long, and they started to figure it out, and they got some good shots off it. The Bucks did. That kind of got things going again. And once they got a 10, 12-point lead, it was over. The Suns could never recover.
Yeah. So Giannis scored. I think he scored some like the low 40s. He's the first player to score back-to-back 40-point games in the finals. Do you think that he's gonna have to keep on performing these high-scoring games in order for him to come back into the series, or do you think that he can score somewhere in the low 30s or high 20s and they could still win? What do you think?
To me, when he is as aggressive like that and causing so many problems for the defense, then that's what makes them that gives them the chance to get to win these games. So I think he's going to have to score like this. Can they win a game where he scores 30? Yeah, I'm sure they could. But that's the other thing is let me look at Holiday. So Holiday ended up going 8 for 14, 5 for 10. That's amazing because I thought he was terrible in the first half. Holiday, he was missing layups. He was missing wide open threes. He was dropping the ball. He was not good at all in the first, I would say, 20 minutes of the game. He was the guy that came alive and hit a couple of threes in the third quarter. So he's also very key. If he can shoot well, and then Middleton was much better shooting too, then yeah, that takes a lot of the pressure off of Giannis. So even tonight, he wouldn't have needed 40, right? They would have still won by a comfortable margin. But what we have to see it. I don't know if I'm sold that Middleton is going to be there. Middleton, I think I'm more sold on. But Holiday, again, only had a stretch where I thought he played well. The rest of the time, I didn't think he was good at all. But the only thing I would say about him was at least he wasn't playing like in game 2 where he was trying to force too many shots and like some sort of aggressive thing, which, by the way, you heard Jeff Van Gundy talk about and rail about on the show, kind of like echoing what I had said. Interesting. And he was much better and much more within the flow and making better passes. So that was good to see. But I thought as far as him shooting, I got to look. I'm going to call it up in a minute when it's available on the NBA page. I want to know what his first half shooting was. It couldn't have been good, Holiday. So anyway, that's a long-winded answer to your question. But, yeah, I think Holiday's got to convince me he can play like this, for a longer stretch.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard. I don't think it's very sustainable for him to be able to go 5 for 10 from 3, in the rest of the games in this series. But another thing I wanted to ask was, why do you think Monty Williams had Devin Booker on the bench for so long?
Because he just was so cold. It's like he just wasn't scoring. You know what I mean? That's like, let's see, when he ended up 3 for 14. He just didn't look good, right? And like a lot of the Suns sort of looked off. To me, even Chris Paul was like kind of losing the ball, throwing passes that weren't on target. So I think that's what it was. The guy was 3 for 14. He just wasn't helping defensively. I don't think he doesn't do a lot on that end. He does, he's okay. So I think that they just, needed to find the spark from somewhere else. I suspect if they could have gotten a little bit of a run there, then he comes in with the 8 minutes to go fresh and ready. But, why risk it up 2-0, getting hammered? You might as well just let him get some extra rest.
Yeah, I agree.
But by the way, there's no way the Suns are going to win this series if Booker continues to shoot this way, right?
No, yeah. There's no way at all. I think it might have been better for him to play a few more minutes in the fourth, maybe try to get a little better rhythm for game 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, the game was over. I don't think there was any way for the Suns to come back.
Yeah. Remember, he's got a broken nose too, so I'm sure they're worried about that. Like, you don't want to re-injure that either. So, I'm trying to see. Do I have? Yeah. I'm looking at the logs. I guess I have to do some math in my head. 8 for 21 in game 1. He ended up 12 for 25 in game 2, even though I believe he didn't start out very well. He got hot at some point, and then he throws another. What did I just say? I lost my tab. Oh, here it is. Then he went another 3 for 14. So overall in this series, yeah, he has to be better than that. And he was forcing some shots. It looked like kind of like the older Booker we had seen from a few years ago that we'd lead his team in scoring, but like with a very low percentage, and that was what I saw tonight.
Sounds good. Hey, appreciate you having me on, Coach. Thank you.
You got it. Anytime. Thanks, Rich. All righty. Everybody out there on YouTube, if you want to come on over and chop it up with me, just download the Hot Mic app and come on over. I'm going to do that. And then don't forget, if you want to get my attention on the chat side, on the YouTube thing, the Super Chat's always the way to do that. We have some chats over in the Hot Mic app, which I usually give a little bit of priority to. So after everyone's freaking out that they couldn't hear me, now let's get to some questions maybe from there. How did the Bucks adjust to get this result? Was it as simple as Holiday and Middleton making more shots? Sometimes, yeah, that's certainly it. I mean, they certainly made more shots, and so they were better. That's like an easy, non-adjustment just to have them make more shots. I thought that Drew Holiday did play better, though. He played more within himself. But again, not to contradict what I said earlier, playing within himself was a good sign. He wasn't forcing too many, but the shots that he was taking, he couldn't hit an open three. He missed a bunny at the rim. I thought he was not good at all for a lot of that stretch, certainly in the first half. But when he finally got going and played better and made some more shots, then not played better. When he made shots, he started actually hitting those. Then that's when they went on their run. Giannis from the free throw line also. So it's like that's not an adjustment. It's just like you got to hope he makes them. He sped it up a little bit, which is good to see. I think even just taking less time improves the rhythm of the shot too. So that was important for them because he hit a ton of them. He ended up being, let's see here. Giannis ended up being 13 for 17 from the line, and that's a tough order for the Suns if he's going to hit that many, take that many, hit that many. So that was a big one too. And then any other adjustments? I don't know. This is just how it goes. Now, there's a couple of things that were interesting that you kind of thought the basketball gods had clearly just decided the Bucks were going to win this one. I wrote them down because let's see if I can find them real quick. There's a couple plays like, okay. Well, gosh, did I write? Oh yeah, here is this it? No, Giannis gets a dunk on a Lopez. Okay, Lopez gets shoots a 20-footer on a 3-pointer, so he's short by like 5 feet. But somehow Giannis gets it and gets a dunk out of it. Like that was when I was like, okay, what's going on here? They did it again. Where is it? I just saw it. Oh crap! Come on now. Another bad pass to the roll man Giannis. Yeah, Giannis rolls a terrible pass. It should have just been an easy steal. 4 guys had it, and then it still like turns into a dunk by Giannis. So those 2 plays are just like I think at some point you got to realize this is just not your night. They were turning surefire turnovers and air balls from 3 into dunks. Craziness. Even the dunk by what's his face over Tucker by Cam Johnson, like would have probably been a big booster for them, and it totally ended up kind of being a dud. I think there was a timeout because they had to review it, and they lost any kind of momentum they would have gotten from that. So there was just something in the air tonight too as well. I thought that sometimes you just got to say, hey, this is what's happening here. And if there was going to be a game, it was going to be game 3. Now that the Suns are shorthanded without Saric, and that's a big loss for them coming in. And then Torrey Craig did play. I think he looked okay, but he was also banged up. So that was the game that they were going to probably get at the very least, because it still feels like the Suns had control, or we're about to like kind of take control of the game too early in the first half. So we'll see what happens. But we got some more people want to come on the show. So let's bring in Jason first and see how that goes. Jason, just tap that button and accept the invitation, and we'll see what you have to say. And then Arbor makes a good point over on the Hot Mic app too. Is like, yeah, it's over when Giannis goes 13 for 17 from the free throw line. That's just I don't know. It's an anomaly. He did change the form a little bit, sped it up. It still looks a little bit wonky to me, but he had a good rhythm going. He could figure out how to make those. Now it's nice when you do have that lead, you can make them when you're up big. That's the real question for Giannis. Can he make them when they're when he needs to, and they're down 1 with 2 free throws to go and 5 seconds left? But good showing so far tonight, so maybe he'll be able to build on that. Okay, Jason is not coming in. I don't know. I might just bring in Alex then while we're waiting. Let's see here. Let's just see what happens if I bring in Alex too. So Alex, let's see if you're available. We have to take care of some business. We have a super chat. Thank you so much. Aaron McLean wants to do a super chat to tell me to go back to the legendary music in my videos. Don't worry, I'll do it. But finals, I figure I have some fun. But I don't know if anything's going to grab me for this next one if I can figure out a good stuff. But it was been a pretty good response so far. But we have Alex. Alex, are you there?
I am.
What's up, my man?
I'm happy because I'm rooting for the Bucks, and I saw a lot of things that I myself was expecting in game 2. But and still, to me, there are some things I would have done differently. But nonetheless, it was better. For example, Drew Holiday wasn't like, it was more in rhythm for him. Wasn't more like taking stupid shots that would be for Bryn Forbes instead of him. They helped. Like, I know you made a video on this, but when I was rewatching the highlights, when they helped one pass away, it was to the point where it was like infuriating. Like some people play like gap help, but it was extreme. Like it
right.
like
especially when they don't need to do that, especially when there's a guy already in position, but coming over from the weak side. Like that was what's so infuriating is. Now here's the only thing about that: is when you're one pass away like that, you probably can't see where the other defenders are. So you don't know if he's there or not, but you need to trust him. That should be what the defense is the weak side guy comes over. So, by the way, they did it again tonight a few times.
Yeah, they did. And I saw Drew Holiday let it up.
Yeah. And it's like they're not going to change. They're not going to change. They're going to do that. They're going to give up those open threes. So I just when that happens, just take a breath, zen it out, and just hope that it works out. I don't know what else to say when you see that.
Yeah, but in my opinion, right, like if they weren't going to fix that, and I feel like they didn't do it as much this game, but if they weren't going to fix that, they needed to like fix the pick and roll. But I was thinking for game 2, it wasn't going to stop the pick and roll. It was just going to be like something to like stop, like try to stop the bleeding,
Mm-hmm.
And they did a pretty good job. I mean, in the first half, it was kind of here and there. Like they tried and it didn't really work sometimes.
Right.
But as the game kind of progressed, it kind of started like when they put Bobby Portis in, they were getting on that run. And their switching was very good. Like they switched and then they switched again. Like they kind of showed that their defense, their rotations, like they're ready to take that next step. Like you try to switch on, you try to run a pick and we run small with Giannis at the 5. Okay, and you want to take advantage of DeAndre Ayton, we're going to just switch with another big. You're not going to have that mismatch at all. All of your mismatches are gone. You're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Devin Booker had 10 points. So
yeah, they definitely limited that in the second half. Now, part of that was the foul trouble that Ayton had and missed some of that time that he would have had in the third or the fourth, the second half. So that was part of it, because I thought, at some point, you're like, wait, where is Ayton? They needed him in there, and he was the foul trouble issue. So that was part of it. But yeah, they definitely limited that. But they were getting killed with it in the first half. Now the thing that they could hang their hat on was that they were scoring well too, so they were able to balance that out, which is really helpful. Certainly, when you look at the 3-point shooting, they ended up going. The Suns ended up 9 for 31, and the Bucks were 14 for 36. So not even that efficient from three, but when they make 5 more threes, like that gives you a big boost. And that balanced out any of those the 2-pointers that they were giving up on the other end. I do think they need to continue to figure out how better to guard that pick and roll with Ayton, because if Ayton doesn't get into foul trouble, then I just will predict that Game 4 will be a problem for the Bucks to keep it. They won't have a big lead again if Ayton stays in.
If I'm being entirely honest, I kind of gave Coach Bud a plus with how he defended the pick and roll, at least towards the end of the second half.
Yeah.
Or maybe like towards the start of the third, where I think Ayton was in there maybe a little bit, and he was like in foul trouble, but he was still in the game, I believe, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But
no, it was better. It was better. I can't wait to go through the footage and really study exactly what happened in that moment, because it wasn't long, but it was enough in that third quarter, where they took control. But also, remember in the third quarter, the Suns made, I think, their first 7 shots, or like 8 of 9 or something crazy like that, and that was when they came back. So it was still really rough for them until I think it was when Ayton kind of went out and then Portis comes in. So I'll look at it again, but for sure it's going to be an issue that they're going to have to look at, and I know they won easily tonight, but they're going to have to fix that a little bit if they want to continue winning, I think.
I feel like rebounding, helping one pass away, and then offense. Like if Coach Bud could just make his offense way more efficient, keep coming up with more plays to where they can't stop, and maybe even implementing a little bit of surprise Spain pick and roll with Giannis, I think that would be a little bit, even though the Suns have run it themselves, I still think it'd be like a nice wrinkle here and there. Just keep on innovating on offense, and I feel like even with defensive woes, and if he doesn't try to stop all these little advantages that the Suns have, at least they have a constant going on offense. So when something fails, they have something that they're going on offense. For
sure. Yeah, great calls, all of them. So listen, Alex, I got to get some other people on here, but thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. Anytime. Let's see here. Now, speaking of which, Spain pick and roll, so they open the fourth quarter with it. They get a wide open rolling Ayton, and Chris Paul throws it to him, and he just goes through his hands for another turnover. That was another one of those. It's this is just not happening for the Suns. If the Spain pick and roll isn't working for them, then it's time to throw in the towel. It was weird. That was weird, but I don't want to take anything away from the Bucks, because they certainly came with a lot of energy. They hit a lot of shots. That was really important for them, and they got the crowd rolling with them, so that really helped as well. Let's see here. Let's bring in Kevin and see what Kevin wants to add to the good discussion. I put Bridges over Ayton for the next All-Star. Right. Yeah. We'll see. I'm telling you, I'm putting all my eggs in the Bridges basket.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you now, Kevin. What's happening?
Hey, man. Pretty awkward game, to say the least. I really think this game was more just about the energy and effort from the Bucks supporting cast. If you really look at it, now I think the Suns, they kind of got to shorten their rotation, because if Frank Kaminsky got to come in the game, there you go. Then it's definitely going to bring the Bucks back into the series.
But that said, Kaminsky gave them good minutes in game 2. So they shot up and got a 7-point lead right when he came in for a couple of possessions, and then they scored, and it ended up being even. But Kaminsky's negative 12 tonight, and that's going to kill you in 14 minutes. He was not helpful at all.
Right, and I think today was definitely the sorry effect that they missed. Speaking into it, you could just see the impact of a Chris Paul type of, impact on the role for Devin Booker. He just was, I think a lot of players, they just play differently in Milwaukee or anything in that magnitude.
Yeah.
What do you think the Suns could really just look back into it and just think, this was just a facade, just the off game with the Spain pick and roll, with the Spain offense? Do you think they could just go back into it? They missed a lot of shots. I think they went 9 for 31 from the 3-point line. So do you think that could be a norm? Mikal Bridges, I think, only had 4 points and things that magnitude. So it's a facade, or do you think Milwaukee, they just a really different team at home?
I think it's all of those things. So it was the Suns' first road game in the finals. They needed to get their feet wet on that one. So I think that Monty Williams he's not going to go crazy and have to rip out the entire playbook and start over. He'll probably assume that Devin Booker shoots a little bit better than he did, even though he hasn't been shooting great. But he'll shoot a little bit better. I think he can assume that. Aiden doesn't get into foul trouble, because here's the other part of the equation. When he goes out, they tried Crowder on Giannis. So that's just never. I don't think it's going to work at all.
Right.
Bridges maybe a little bit better, but not much. And so that's the thing, is with Aiden in there, at least he can kind of give a big body against Giannis. I'm sure Giannis scored, of his 41 points, I bet you 20 of those were on Ayton, but they're a little bit harder, and they don't have any other choices. I can't picture anybody else doing that well against him, size-wise and effectiveness. So that really hurt them probably as much as the offense. It hurt them on the defensive side too. So they'll probably assume that Ayton will be able to get to his normal, 32 minutes at least, instead of 24 tonight. Yeah, and so you put all those things together, and now you go from a 20-point deficit to, it's probably closer to tied. And then now you got something on the margins to figure out who's going to come in. But, Sharpe's not being there really hurts, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I was also thinking it's more intuitive, even though I don't know. It's just this is the Chris Middleton, this is the Jrue Holiday. I think they really are going to determine if this series go long or not. Chris Middleton had 18, but, he's just the jump shooting player. He's just not going to really try to force the game, force the game into him, to try to, draw contact in that magnitude. I saw something interesting when the beginning of the game, they let Jrue Holiday start on Devin Booker, which I think was kind of more of a interesting matchup of, Devin Booker. I wouldn't say as athletic as Jrue Holiday or anything of that magnitude, but Jrue Holiday did a pretty fair square in the beginning. Then they let PJ Tucker guard CP3. Mm-hmm. What do you think of those type of matches?
I don't like Tucker on CP3 at all.
Neither.
I think that Holiday should be on him, because what Tucker ends up doing is he'll chase on the drop, and then he's the one who's still trying to contest from behind or from the side. It doesn't bother CP3 at all. Giannis tried to do it and didn't bother CP3 either, which I was like, okay, maybe, I don't know, but that was an amazing shot, going to his right, twisting, and he still swished it clean. But I just feel like Tucker doesn't offer enough on that one. That's why it should be Middleton or Holiday. I think it should be Middleton. Let's see Middleton on him and let him chase around. Then you can put Holiday on Booker, and you can put Tucker on whatever. I'd like to at least see that, but they don't seem interested in adjusting that way. So I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I know. I think, I saw Chris Middleton probably was guarding Mikal Bridges to kind of get him some, the LeBron effect of, defense, let him be free safety or something like that. Mm-hmm. Tried not to get him his energy up on the defense, because, he's still struggling throughout the series. And then lastly, Coach, I guess, who you think the Finals MVP is in the bag for? You think CP3 kind of got this in the bag now, knowing that, the role, he's kind of a warrior now?
Yeah, if the Suns win, it's got to be Chris Paul without question. And then obviously it's Giannis if the Bucks win.
Absolutely. All right, Coach. Thank you so much, my man.
All right, Kevin. Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, we just had somebody disappear, but we have Espen. Let's bring him on. And again, if you want to come on the show and you're over on the YouTube side, the link is in the description below. Come on the Hot Mic app, download that and use it, and you can call right in. I think if you have an Android phone, you could actually have video as well. It looked like it still does that, even though they're going to get rid of that. Although I like it. I wish we had the video. And then hopefully they're working on something for you guys on YouTube to see when I'm talking, so it's not just me staring at you while I'm listening. But Esben, how are you, my man?
How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Okay. So I noticed that Giannis was looking very good with the knee injury and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
was just wondering what you think about the rest of the series when he's looking healthy out there.
I mean, first of all, again, just a true miracle that he looks that way. I don't even understand how that happened based on that injury and what happened to his knee. But that's interesting. We've seen now him have a really good game in game two, similar to this, and they lost. And going away. Now he does the same thing and they win, and primarily because the other guy shot better. So again, like what Kevin was saying, it probably does come down to the other guys, really. Which is what happens every time. With LeBron, it can't do it alone. Steph and KD need each other. So, yeah, it's really going to come down to whether Middleton and Holiday can be as effective. But I would be worried, again, I don't want to pee on the parade here, but as far as the Bucks go, there's a lot of issues they need to still fix, I think, from this game. And that is, and if they can do that, the pick and roll defense, then, yeah, they can get right back in there, tie it up, and then it's anybody's game. But I would be concerned if I saw the same kind of issues in game four, where the Bucks were getting so many easy shots on that end. Now you can obviously say, well, the Suns need to figure it out too. Well, they have the lead, so they're in a better position. And the way that the Suns play defense generally, to me, means that like they'll have less of issues to adjust and figure out because they've been so good defensively throughout the whole playoffs. Excuse me.
So with Aiden going out, they played like a small ball lineup, the Suns, and kind of succeeded, getting close to the lead. I was just wondering if that was, you think that was a good strategy for the Suns going forward, playing like a small ball lineup against the bigger Milwaukee team.
So the key as a coach is when you figure that something's working or you get locked into something and it's happening you got to figure out exactly when to go away from that. If it's especially an anomaly like a very small ball lineups. So it really helped them until it didn't, and they went at it a little bit too long. So they stayed in the zone, I would say 3 or 4 possessions, well, maybe 3 possessions too long. And then the same kind of thing with the small ball where they got hit with the offensive rebounds eventually and putbacks, and that really, really killed them. So they need to figure out a better balance on that, and they might look at that and realize that and then adjust for game 4 as well. But there's no question they got killed in the offensive rebounds. Right now, looking at the box score, it was only 13-6. They must have grabbed maybe a couple at the end there, only because and then they must not have put them back because I know there was like a 20-0 advantage in second chance points, or 19-0 at some point. By the end of the third, I wrote that down. Here's the only problem is I've been going through these offensive rebounding and second chance point stats on the NBA side, and they're wrong. So I've been going through them and seeing that they give 19-12 advantage, whatever it was for game 1, maybe. I went through and watched every single offensive rebound, and it was way off. It wasn't 19 to whatever. It was like 26 or 27 points. So I'm really confused by how they're trying to tabulate that and whether or not it's accurate or not. But the bottom line is, and I'll be on there and making sure to let everyone know. But I've seen it on that. I've also seen it on the fast break points are off. Now, fast break points could be a little bit, like, is that a fast break or is it like a secondary offense or whatever? But that was off too, no matter how generous or not you want to be on what you consider a fast break. So I'm concerned about those stats, believe it or not. But either way, from the eye test, we know that they hammered them on the offensive boards in that key stretch where they got that lead from 7 to 15 and then 20. So yet, without question, that the Suns just need to figure out how to get that under control easier. And it can't just be like Ayton, you know what I mean? They have to figure out another way for someone else in there to grab a rebound.
Yeah. I was just thinking too, with the big bodies from Milwaukee, a lot of people are saying, they gotta attack the paint more. When you see Brooks shooting threes and stuff like that, do you think that's a good idea for the Bucks, or should they go for the more aggressive paint attacking offense instead?
Well, like Middleton, for instance, he got that 4th foul on Ayton by going strong to the hoop and like getting into him, and it was iffy. But that's another example of like they were attacking the paint. I mean, certainly. Let's look at the free throws real quick. The free throws were 20 for 26 in the Bucks, and they only 11 for 16 for the Suns. So I like what they were doing, and it certainly helped them to get Ayton out of the game. That's a big key. If they can cut Ayton's minutes to 24 minutes versus 36, 38, whatever they normally are, that's huge. Ayton is that important. Like I know Chris Paul gets the Finals MVP if they win, but Ayton is as important. But I believe me, he's as important as anybody on that team, because for both sides. I mean, listen, Lopez tried a 5-dribble or a 4-dribble, drive baseline and shoot an air ball, the layup. That was pretty ugly. So I don't want to see him trying to do it. And like that was when you thought, okay, this is not going to be the Bucks night. There were some really ugly possessions by them in that first half. And by the way, also, great Ayton help on that drive by Lopez with also, that forced him into that, it was a reverse layup that like didn't hit anything. So, you got to figure out the right, balance here. I thought the same thing we had with Drew Holiday as well in game 2. Does not balance properly with how he wanted to attack and shoot versus set up teammates. He was much better. He was much better on this one too. So I think that they're figuring some things out, and the Bucks just have to hope that they can continue to make those shots.
Agree. So with the last question with Tucker on Chris Paul, I was just wondering what you thought about the PJ Tucker's defense this far in this series. I think he was pretty good, with the KD and in the Atlanta series, but I don't know, he feels kind of out of place in there sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a good matchup for him on Chris Paul. I don't think he should be guarding him. Let him guard, and probably Booker either. But, put him on Crowder, put him on Bridges, and let Middleton guard CP3, let Drew guard CP3 and Chase. I think that's better for them. So, nothing stands out in my mind when I'm watching this. It's not like it's terrible, but I just feel like it's not as effective as they need it to be. And he's not giving them anything, on offense, really. I mean, he was 3 for 5, 1 for 2 from 3. In 30 minutes. So he's not really producing much on that end. So if that's the case, they got to get some more out of him from the defensive side. So I think that they got him matched up in a weird way. I'm not sure why they continue to go that way, but you can't argue with the results, at least tonight, for the score. And that's something that I'm sure will keep us seeing, Tucker on CP3 for the rest of the series. All righty.
All right. I appreciate it, Coach.
You got it. Thanks, Desmond. Anytime. Let's see here. Now we got Arbor wants to come on in, and I think he's going to be with video. So let's see if we can share him on both audio and video. Arbor, come on in. Let's chop it up. And where he's coming on. Hey, what's happening, my man?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, first of all, I wanted to say I've been a huge fan of yours for like 5 years now, and you're the first person who got me into the X's and O's of basketball. So thank you for that.
Wow, thanks.
And back to the game. Obviously, you mentioned this, and I was looking at this earlier, but the second chance points today was crazy. Like, the Suns can't just keep that happening again. Just crazy. And what can Coach Williams do to change that? Maybe attack Lopez and Portis on the other end or something like that? Because obviously, Ayton today was in foul trouble, but still, the Bucks have been killing them on the offensive boards all series.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter as much if you're nailing threes and you're making 4, 5, 6 more threes than them. So that's the new modern NBA where coaches used to sort of wring their hands and get really upset about offensive putbacks and turnovers. When now you can kind of negate those. So part of that has to be that they have to shoot better from 3. Honestly, that's probably what he's going to think to himself. But yeah, they also they need to have Ayton in there. He can't get into foul trouble. He hadn't had a problem before that. You have to imagine he won't again. But he's on the road, and that happens too. Scott Foster. It's just not surprising you're going to have some foul trouble issues with some interesting calls. I thought that they were pretty legit most of the time. So there's not much that Mondi can do, though. I mean, Saric is not in there, who kind of bangs and can kind of grab a board or two. They're going to have to probably tell, like, Cam Johnson's going to be the guy. He's like, get in there, mix it up, be tough. Whatever he did to go down like he got shot today, like that can't happen again. He's going to have to just be tougher.
Yeah, I was thinking more in the line of attacking Lopez and Portis on the other end, because Portis got like 4 offensive rebounds tonight, and that's huge. So
right. So you mean like attacking to get him fouled in foul trouble and get him out of the game?
Yeah, or just make him unplayable to some defensive end, because you know, Booker and CP should be killing that.
Yeah.
And also, what can Coach Williams do to get Booker going? Because obviously, yeah, he's a terrific scorer, and so today you can just say, oh, he'll make them next time those shots that he missed. But like, what can he do to make him get some easy looks or something like that?
You know, in my mind's eye, I can't picture this them running it, but they usually have him on the left low block, and then he comes around like an Ayton high, elbow screen. They have all that kind of elbow action. And for some reason, in my mind, I don't feel like they didn't run a lot of that. And so that would be the only solution that you'll see that I'm sure in game 4 constantly is running those sets, like the horn sets where he's on the elbow, but then he also the one where he starts on the left block. They have to get back to the basics and run that stuff to death, because those are where he gets great shots and great looks and puts a lot of pressure on the defense. If he's just going to handle the ball out top and kind of, ISO shoot, that's never going to be his game anyway. That's probably the reason why he doesn't shoot that well in his career from 3 anyway. So I think that's a big thing that they need to kind of stop letting him get into a mode where he's just going to like create on his own, get him back in that offense and run those 2 sets. And I think that he'll have to shoot better. I don't think he'll shoot this bad again. This is bad.
Yeah, for some reason he's shooting a lot of threes in this series. Like, he usually doesn't shoot that much. Right?
Yeah, you know what? I think it was one of those things where he doesn't have any experience in the finals. He didn't experience like on the road in the finals. So this is what's going to happen. We're going to see a little bit of that creep through. Not even Chris Paul. Chris Paul like shot fine and played okay, but he was off too. There's no question in my mind. They're like a little bit arrhythmic. Everything was off for them, and so Monty Williams has to hope that was this was the experience they needed. Now that they got under their belts, they know what it feels like, and they can come out and perform normally. And if that happens, then it's a close game. It's not a blowout. Then it goes either way. I'm sure with Chris Paul on the floor, he'd take those odds in a close game down the stretch.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
You got it. Thanks, Arbor. All righty, we got Jacob. We're requested to come on in, so let's bring him in there and see what Jacob has to say. Jacob with a Y. Jacob. Maybe it's Jacob. Let's see here. Are you there, Jacob? Nick wants to say CP3 versus Scott Foster 0 for 12 in playoff games. Is that really right? 0 in 12? It feels like he should have refereed more than just 12 games for CP3's career. But Jacob, what's happening, my man?
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
So what do you think about that saying where they say the series doesn't start until someone loses on the road or loses at home, I think they say.
Yeah.
Something like that. So if that's the case, I mean, if that would have happened tonight, I feel like the series would have been more over than started.
Oh, well, you mean that's because they'd be down 3-0. I mean, yeah, for sure. That it would have been over.
So that confuses me. I want you to do that for me, please.
And before I forget, Zeka on YouTube, thank you so much for the super chat. She wants to say this is literally a must-win game for the Bucks, and absolutely, and that kind of goes to what you're saying, Jacob. We have another real quick one. Sorry, Jacob. Another super chat on the YouTube side from Chrono 454. Thank you. I was seeing them double Booker early in transition to make him give it up the ball. Should the Suns push the tempo when that happens? Okay, hang on to that for 1 second. But Jacob, what were we just talking about again?
So the whole it's not the series isn't started until somebody loses at home.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's an interesting saying, but the bottom line here is that the Bucks still need to win, game 4. It's a must win for them, because if they go down 3-1 and now they're going back to Phoenix, this series is definitely over, right? So the pressure is still firmly on the Bucks to have to hold court again.
Right. So kind of that's what they have to do. That's what they need to do. That's what they should do.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't do that, that's whenever things are getting out of hand. That's whenever this series is going one way or the other.
Right, exactly. And like we outlined earlier, there's some issues that popped up in game 3 for sure that the Bucks need to fix in the pick and roll defense. And by the way, because again, are they going to get that many offensive rebounds again? It's like, it just seems like it's not a thing that teams can rely on usually, but it might happen that way. But it's certainly Ayton getting the foul trouble is a big part of that. So there's a lot of balls up in the air here. I don't know how well Bud feels right now. I mean, he should feel good that they got that game and they won easily, but I don't know. I would be a little bit concerned knowing how, coach is obsessed about every little detail. There's a lot of them in there that need to fix.
Right. I think that Devin Booker will do a lot better. Even they asked the coach at halftime, I think it was, or at the end of the first quarter, what are you going to do to get Devin Booker going? He said, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to get in his head. Devin Booker will be just fine.
Well, that it's worth a shot and see what happens. But now the answer has to be, like I mentioned the other caller, there are very specific actions they like to run for him that get him good shots, and they have to run those. I can't picture any of that being run. The only thing I can think of right now is like the Spain pick and roll that they did, and they got a beautiful cut for Ayton, who just dropped the ball on the pass. But I think it was just more of this. Something was just off, it's probably just like the inexperience of being on the road in the finals shook everybody a little bit, and on the Suns. And you have to hope that they can they have gotten their feet wet, and that's it, and they're going to adjust because it couldn't get worse as far as I could tell for the Suns. They can only play better from here.
Right.
Who do you have winning the series?
I want Chris Paul to win, so the Suns.
Okay. Yeah, it would be it's funny. This came up in the show earlier today on the green room chat I had, where it sucks to have to hear Shaq lord his rings over Chuck and the TNT broadcasts. I know it's funny and know it's a bit, but it hurts me. I feel bad for Chuck because he can't do anything. He has to sort of take it every time that Shaq does that. And there's only a few of those guys who were that good who never won, and CP3 was could be that way. So I hope he gets that ring, so he can be that guy who that you can't. When let's see, who would he hang out with him when Chris Paul is on the broadcast and it's oh God, who's his contemporary right now? Like LeBron, for instance, right? LeBron can't be like Rondo, right? Rondo can't be like, yeah, I got my ring, haha, CP3. Especially because you know what? Charles Barkley was every bit as good as Shaq. I mean, that might be a hot take, but Charles Barkley wasn't. For sure. It was close. For sure. And so, and to hear Shaq do that, and again, I know they probably all are good with it and whatever, but that's why I want to see CP3 get it for that reason, so you can't do that to him later in his career when he's broadcasting, I'm sure, on TNT or whatever.
Like Stephen A. Smith made that top 5 list of point guards if Chris Paul gets a ring. Like, why does that if have to be there? Chris Paul he's a top 5 point guard, whether or not he gets that ring or not.
Well, was Stockton on that list?
I don't really remember. I just remember the name of the video was if Chris Paul gets a ring. Yeah.
No, I know. It's so many things that are involved in getting a title that you can't control. You know what I mean? It really sucks. Yeah.
This spin is stupid.
Yeah. Because there's no question in my mind CP3 is a top 5 point guard of all time, regardless of what he wins. I mean, he's that good. He might be 5th, but there can't be more than 4 other guys that play that position better than him at the NBA level.
Yeah, his assist to turnover ratio, his steals per game. He leads the league with 6 times the steals.
Yeah, and then the decision making. I mean, listen, there was some reasons to criticize him for not getting his teams farther in the playoffs without question, but the whole body of work counts for more than that. And he deserves all those stuff. Rich is telling me that Stockton was not in the top 5 either. So I think it was Magic, Steph, Isaiah, and the Big O. That's tough, yeah. But CP3, that's okay. Then CP3 needs. You know what? Chris Paul could be above Isaiah at this point. Isaiah was terrific. He really was great, but. I think that CP3 might earn a spot higher than him now. Oh, I guess we lost Jacob. So, all right. Well, listen. What else we have here? Okay, so let's get to Chrono 454. Sorry on your thing. I was seeing the double Booker early in transition to make him give up the ball. Okay, I miss that? I don't remember seeing him get doubled, but that okay. Should the Suns push the tempo when that happens? So here's the thing I didn't bring up in game 1. I want to say the Suns' pace in game 1 was so much faster than it had been for the rest of the playoffs that seemed to be a thing that they wanted to really do and unlock. And I have no doubt if you go through the pace on this game, it was much slower than that. So without question, that Monty is going to tell them, yes, get going and pushing it up quickly. Get Campaign out there and get him pushing the ball quickly. So there's no doubt in my mind that has to be a key. Let me see if I can call up the that stat here. If it's up yet, let's see here. Where are my stats here? Let me open a new tab. Stats.nba.com, teams, traditional stats, playoffs, and we go to advanced, and then we go to last game. Let me see here. The last game, and let's go for the NBA Finals. Run it. The Phoenix Suns pace was 97. So there was, I think it was over 100. It was like 103 in game 1 or game 2, whatever that was, when they really looked good. And it was 97, which is a pretty significant slower pace for them. So without question, the Suns need to push it. And that made them play a lot better. Thank you for another super chat by XYZTUV. Who's a better player, Giannis or CP3? Better, more. Well, CP3 is more skilled. So that's without question. He's more skilled. Better overall impact right now. I mean, you probably got to go with Giannis the way he's been, really, filling up the scoreboard. I would give it. It's close because CP3, for the first 2 games, is controlling tempo and setting everybody up and stuff too, and looking great. It's really, really close. It's got to be. It's hard to choose. Maybe you choose Giannis because he won tonight, and then see what happens in game 4. But as far as as a better player overall, I mean, better skilled and no question in CP3. Better player overall. I don't know. I guess you probably have to give it to Giannis, but I don't know. I value skill generally higher than most anything else, and so if that's the case, I'd probably have to say CP3 is a better player too. But it's razor thin. So interesting question. You're trying to get me to light me up on the comments. I'm sure we'll see what everyone else says. But let's see here. I guess no one else wants to come on the show. And any other questions? Let me see here. I got a couple questions here on the Hot Mic app. Again, we got a couple more minutes. We're kind of getting long in the tooth here. But anybody else wants to come on, fire up the Hot Mic app, quickly get in here, and I'll bring you in. Otherwise, we'll start to wrap it up. Campaign or Jalen Brunson? Who's your backup point guard coach? Ooh. Gosh, Campaign's performance in this playoffs was so good that he might have vaulted himself ahead of Jalen Brunson. He might have, but that's a tough one. It's like trying to pick your favorite child. But I might pick a Campaign right now. We got Galvin who wants to come on. Galvin, what's happening, my man? Are you hit that button, accept the invitation? We'll chop it up for a minute. Hey, what's up, Galvin?
Hi, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. Can you see me?
I can't see you. I can just hear you, but I see your picture.
Okay. Another great game out of Giannis. Just absolutely incredible. Like, it's just like I liked how in this game he was doing less isolating at the top of the key. I liked how they had him playing off the ball more in the dunker spot, getting much easier looks.
Kind of like a center, right? He's playing an old school center position.
Yeah, they should just play him at center regardless, especially in the regular season. Doesn't really matter, sort of like Anthony Davis. But with the Lakers last year, Anthony Davis at center was easily their best lineup, with LeBron and the shooters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus they can better on a pick and roll, especially I feel like Brooke has looked better than he did in game 1 at least.
Mm-hmm.
Game 1 he was getting torched. But when you have Giannis at the 5, obviously we know how great he is as a help defender, and he's a much better man defender, and he's more versatile than Lopez, and you can just have more shooters out there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but better spacing. I mean, listen, Lopez is a shooter, right? But it's different. There's no question it's just different when he's not in there. And they probably got to figure out a better way to listen, I like what they did with Lopez tonight. He played 24 minutes, right? 21 minutes. That's what I've been saying. They have to just cut his minutes so that he's effective in what he's doing, but he's not in there too long where they can get him lit up. And that's it took but a couple games, but he might have figured that out.
Yeah, that's why I said in my post the other day, or maybe it was on my stories on it. I was like, you've got to like decide, because you've got guys like, this is where the whatever his name is, Dante DiVincenzo injury hurts you a lot as well. Like, I'm not gonna say he's an elite level defender, but he's a very good defender who can also knock down his shots, and like he's taking those other minutes. Like, you wouldn't be playing Brent Forbes, like, because Brent Forbes, like, if he's not hitting his threes, they're attacking him every time on defense.
For sure.
Did he even play today?
He got 4 minutes, but yeah, it was pretty quiet. He actually got 2 threes up in those 4 minutes, but that was it. I don't think he got into the second half at all.
Yeah, like he's like hit or miss. Pat Connaughton, like, he's actually played pretty well, but I don't trust him too much.
Right.
Overall.
Real quick, Bryn Forbes got those minutes to begin the second quarter, and that was it, and nothing else after that. And if you go to the popcornmachine.net, you can see all the game flow. So, yeah, I mean, listen, it's a little unfair to criticize Budenholzer to no end, because his hands are tied without DiVincenzo out there. He doesn't have there's not a lot that he can do. But let's see, how many minutes did Jeff Teague play? Jeff Teague played he played 14 minutes, 0 for 4. But they got away from it. They got away with that. So that's kind of like the Bucks got away with having Teague in there for 14 minutes, and the Suns did not get away with Kaminsky in for 14 minutes. Even though Kaminsky actually shot okay, they got torched in those minutes.
Yeah, like I'm a Boston fan, and like I know how god awful Jeff Teague has been. Like, when he's in there, like, he's a pretty clear negative. So I don't know why. I know that, like, they don't got a ton of guys to play, but I still probably wouldn't want to play him any minutes.
Right.
At all. But like, I was going down like the depth chart. Like, you've only got like 7-8 playable guys really.
Right.
For Milwaukee, like, you've got your starters, then you got Bobby Portis,
and Connaughton. That's about it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You can make that work, but it's not easy.
It's especially when you're playing a team like Phoenix, who can go 9, 10, maybe even 11 deep some nights.
Yeah, for sure. Although now it's one less because of Šarić. So, it's interesting. We'll have to see how it goes. But I don't know. Listen, I got other people to bring in, but Calvin, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Take care. All right, let's bring a couple more people and we'll wrap it up. But it's Eli has been waiting patiently. He's been pacing patiently, it looks like. So let's bring him in here and hear what he has to say. What's up, Eli? How you doing?
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
I'm good. What's that? Where are you walking around?
I just parked my car late. I came back late tonight, but I heard you were signing off, so I wanted to get you before you left.
All right.
I know that Drew, Chris, and Giannis all played well tonight, which is not so easy. I guess my question is, do you see any like correlation between the games when they all play well? Do you think that's like sustainable, or I'm kind of in the camp that like I don't think that all three players can play well. The nature of the game is not.
I kind of want to do a video on like maybe the only Giannis on the floor makes Drew Holiday not as good, but I'm not sure there's a correlation there either. Here's what I do feel. I feel like Middleton will play well enough to like this going forward. I mean, I think he can give them enough games where he'll be fine and not an issue. So it's Holiday, right? Holiday is really the key. And in this game alone, he was wildly, good and bad. And so they need something more steady from him. But that because of the enough I saw in the first half of that I thought was bad from him, it makes me really concerned, like going into game 4, if he hits some of those same notes, in that game, and they get anything better out of those guys in the Suns, then the Bucks aren't going to win.
I don't know what the stats were. I don't know if like they ran more rolls with Giannis as the roll man. I've always thought that would have worked. I don't know. I don't know if they did it more or less this game. I always thought that may have worked in terms of getting everybody involved.
From my mind's eye, I don't think they ran any more than normal on those pick and rolls. They did pretty nicely. I mean, it doesn't make sense why they don't do it like more, right? Let him play like a center. Post him up a little bit and pick and roll, and that's it. Stop the mid range stuff. Stop the threes. That's where he's most effective anyway. So I don't know if I saw much of a difference in the way he attacked tonight, than his normal stuff, which was, rolling, mismatch, duck in, boom, they find him. Sometimes they don't find him. It's got to be a little frustrating, but they did a nice job tonight, and he was great.
Okay. Thanks so much, Coach.
All right, have a good one. Night. Thanks.
Yeah, and I love the videos as well. So.
Oh, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Take care. All right, we got Jalen requesting to come on. I think this might be the last person we bring in as we get close to an hour of a show. And I got some super chat. Ed Salad, I love the songs you choose for your videos. Thank you. What should I use for tomorrow? I got to come up with something really, creative and clever. So it's got to be a song that's like about redemption or getting back in something. You know what I mean? Back in the high life. I don't know, something. So give me some suggestions. But he also said, how important is Bobby Portis for the Bucks to win, and what are your thoughts on Bobby Portis? Bobby Portis is I think huge for them. Let me really quickly check what his numbers were. He was in 18 minutes. He only played 18 minutes. That's interesting. But he was a plus 19, 11 points, 8 rebounds. He is huge because they're not getting anything off the bench much besides him, so they need him. He's the only guy double-digit scoring off the bench, and he's huge because Lopez. They got to cut his minutes to 20, 24 minutes. Who gets those? It's got to be Portis. So he's huge. Jalen, what's happening, my man?
Hey, I'm doing good right now. How about you, Coach?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little hungry, but other than that, having a great show.
Yeah. I had a question about your opinions on the drafts. Do you think there's like any upcoming players that's coming in that you think can change franchises or at least have like a positive impact on them?
I haven't done all my homework yet. Usually in the finals ends, I kind of take a deep dive, but I've seen a little bit of Cunningham. I don't know if he's like a franchise changer completely, but he's really, really good and solid. He's got size. I like his game, so I think he's going to improve the team he goes to right away. And then Suggs off of Gonzaga, I think is another one of those guys who should be able to. Although in the finals game, I didn't necessarily like how he played there and how he handled that kind of pressure, but that just is a matter of getting used to it. And after like 20, 30 games, he'll probably get settled. So I think those two guys are the guys on the top of my mind right now that are like NBA ready, who can come in and help. Again, franchise changer, I don't know, but certainly guys who can come in and contribute right away to the way the game is being played. But I will fully acknowledge I have yet to get into a deep dive about all these guys and really get a handle on what it is. And when I will, and I'll get some videos out, probably 4 or 5 videos on the top 5 guys. So we'll see. Well, but what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think Cade Cunningham. I think he's probably the most franchise turning player in the draft. Like I think he's like 6'8" right now.
Yeah,
and he handles the ball like a guard basically. And I watched the you had like a video on your channel or that you retweeted on Twitter that about I think it was a draft analyst guy, and I watched this video on him, and it looked like when his vision is really good. He can especially since he's like 6'8", he can throw over all the tall guys in the NBA. He can throw like full court passes, and like when you're in the half court set and you're throwing like across to the other wing spot and to the corners 3. So that would be good for them. I was iffy on his 3-point shot. I didn't know if it was like as good, but I mean, of course, he can probably develop it coming in.
Well, listen, he shot 40% from 3 on almost 6 attempts per game. That's huge. Like there won't be an analytics guy that will tell you he won't be a good shooter, even if it's only one season. But to see high volume at 40% at the college level generally translates to pretty good shooting in the pros.
Okay.
So I'm excited.
Yeah. My next question would be like, what do you think like the future of like constructing an NBA team would be? Do you think teams will favor more like having more stretch forwards on their team, or more like ball handling guards that can shoot like a Trae Young or Steph Curry?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think that's got to be. I mean, we're still seeing guys like Ayton being picked first, which was weird to me, even though I love Ayton and he's really helpful. But the guy you want is the 3-and-D guy who's 6'8", like Cade Cunningham. That's who you should be drafting, the very top of the top, and have that as a priority. The guys that can play, can guard all the positions, can shoot the ball, and can play defense. If you can get those things, then that's the most valuable. You get 5 guys like that, I don't think you're going to lose many games.
Yeah, I think having a player like I mean not like Jason Tatum, like his like type of build,
Yeah,
like being
exactly.
able to handle the ball and stretch to the 4 position will be really good. I mean, a guy like Giannis too can the 5 is pretty good because he can also he can handle the ball sometimes.
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah, but as a maybe not as a primary guy, but he can't shoot, and that's the
Mhm.
biggest issue. You got to the focus should be on shooters and guys who can shoot. Now, in theory, you can teach that, and guys have gotten better over the course of their careers from three. That seems to be the one thing you can kind of predict a little bit. But if you're valuing that right away at the top of the draft, you would want to find that guy already, and that's what's infuriating about. I feel like there's still too many college coaches who aren't letting the 6'8", 6'9" guys have guard skills. Or showcase those. And I'm just telling you, you got to have ultra switchy teams where you can switch 1 through 5. And you don't want to have, listen, 6'2", 6'3" of a Steph Curry. That's awesome to have. He's amazing. He's one of my, the best players of all time. But it's hard to have him switch off on some of those guys. He's at a disadvantage. So, you don't want to overlook that kind of player. But if you have a chance to get a guy who can shoot it, who can move, who's 6'8", 6'9", and can play defense, then that's who you want.
My last question is who do you think next season? Who do you think is going to be like the next team to be like kind of like Atlanta to have this like maybe big run into the playoffs or just show like a lot of development?
Wait, I'm sorry. Who do I think is going to be the next guy to be
the next like team to show like a lot of development through the season, kind of like Atlanta?
Yeah,
like
right.
Fifth seed, but they got all the way to the conference finals.
Yeah. So who's the next Atlanta? Because Atlanta is the next Atlanta. But the next, I mean, I don't think it's the Knicks. I still don't like exactly how they're constructed.
Maybe the Pelicans.
Yeah, it's funny that my eye just went to them. They're going to have another new coach, and they have too much talent to not make a big splash. So yeah, I mean that would probably have to be them. Anybody else? Not like the Thunder are doing something, but they're still like 3 years off. That might be.
What about Memphis?
Oh well, Memphis is kind of there. They made the playoffs, so they're there. But yeah, Memphis as well. If they can get Jaren Jackson Jr. healthy for the whole year and get that unit and some more improvement, then yeah, they're going to be really really tough for sure. But the Pelicans, to me, if you got Zion and continually to improve, might have a higher ceiling, believe it or not. But we got to figure out.
Ingram.
And Ingram, I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned about him and how that all fits.
Really?
But listen, he's a scorer and he's long and he can play a little defense. By the way, Ingram's another one of those guys I described, right? Who you want to value.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pelicans I think is probably the best call of all those guys, and then Grizzlies, real close too. Which by the way means there's nobody in the East that we're eyeing. Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, the East is pretty dry right now. I think all the teams that made it this year are probably going to make it next year too, probably.
Yeah. So we'll see. Cool. Well, thank you, Jalen, for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. All righty. Adam, we got one more guy. This is it. I'm going to cut it off after this one and go eat, I think, if I can find some food. Adam, what's happening? Are you there? Hit that button, accept the invitation. We'll chop it up. What's going on, Adam?
Hey, Coach Nick, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I don't want to, I'm a little bit ready to go eat something, but I'm here for you. So let's finish out strong.
All right, sounds good. I might have to think of a question real quick then to finish out strong, but I just wanted to say it was a really good game. I enjoyed watching it. Nice to see Giannis getting in those stat lines with some of the all-time greats, But I really enjoyed the game. I came into the live show pretty late because I had some things I had to finish up. But I just wanted to say hello and say,
hey.
I appreciate all the work you put in and all the live shows. They're always a lot of fun. So,
Well, thank you, Adam. I really appreciate it. It's nice to get feedback and understand that, people are enjoying these things because I certainly like to hang out with you guys and talk and really just it helps me to get my thoughts organized before I break down the videos tomorrow morning. So thank you for being part of the conversation.
Always.
You got it.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. Get some good food.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You too. Take care. Yeah. Be safe. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being part of the show. It was just great. We'll do it again, I'm sure, after Game 4, and we'll see if anything I said was correct tonight. I think it will. So my prediction, I kind of honestly feel like the Suns are going to win Game 4. There was too many things I saw that would be problematic defensively for the Bucks. That who knows? Maybe the Bucks will smooth it out and they'll take it again. And I wouldn't mind that, but the ratings are down and people are less interested in the series for some reason. So maybe it'd be nice to kind of get a deeper series and see that some more some suspense and see what happens and get more people into it. So again, thank you all for being here. This is great. Ed Salad, great call on BG Staying Alive. I think I might have to use that if I can find the instrumental version too. I love me some disco. So that would certainly be a good call for what the Bucks did tonight, Staying Alive. Anyway, thank you guys for all being here. Great stuff. And I will see you tomorrow on the video on the regular part of YouTube. And don't forget, sports fans, at BBALL Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?